Look beyond the stars, past the gravity wells and nebulae. There, you will find the currents of creation, the raw energies of the zodiac. Today, we observe the most foundational of these, Cancer. Not a creature, but a current, the great lunar-driven tide of emotion itself. Its nature is to connect, to protect, to feel. But when this cosmic ocean meets other elements, the result is creation, or cataclysm. Here is the chronicle of its connections, the Almanac of Compatibility. File 1. Aries. The ram's fire meets the crab's water. Aries is impulse, a supernova of action. It does not ask permission. Cancer's tide approaches, seeking to envelop, to understand, to soothe the incandescent flame. But Aries' heat is absolute. The initial contact is not a connection, but a violent rejection, a flash of conflict. Cancer recoils, its sensitive surface scorched. The sheer force of Aries' impulse leaves a scar of deep misunderstanding. Yet, the comet's fire cannot burn forever. Its energy expended in a single, glorious burst, it begins to cool, to dim. And Cancer, in its deepest nature, cannot nurse a wound when another is exposed. The tide returns, not to fight, but to heal. A new form is created, not fire, not water, but something forged between them. Obsidian, hardened by conflict, polished by care. This bond, forged in steam, creates an unshakable foundation, but the volcanic pressure beneath the surface never truly sleeps. File 2. Taurus, the primal earth, where the cosmic tide meets the shore. An instinctive, foundational understanding. Taurus energy manifests as a patient, floating continent, stable, unmoving, rich with potential but dormant. The Cancer tide arrives, not as a crashing wave, but as a gentle, life-giving rain, a promise of total nourishment. The earth receives the water without question. It soaks a peep into the soil, awakening the dormant life that waits within. And from this perfect union, life erupts, a shared creation, a garden of cosmic proportions built on stability and profound care. The Cancer energy forms rivers, carving paths of deep comfort. The Taurus earth provides a solid, unwavering foundation for them. But this profound comfort can lead to stagnation. The river can become a swamp if it is never encouraged to move. The earth can become too possessive, refusing to let the water flow freely. The connection risks becoming a gilded cage. File 3. Gemini. The twins of thought. Air meets water, creating a confusing, beautiful, and chaotic mist. Gemini's energy is a dual cyclone of pure data and thought, constantly shifting, never settling, always in motion. Cancer's steady emotional current flows directly into their path, seeking a single, stable point of heartfelt connection. As air hits water, the cyclones don't stop. They absorb the moisture, transforming deep feeling into a thick, obscuring fog of thought. Within this fog, logic and emotion are indistinguishable. Cancer cannot find its emotional depth, and Gemini loses its intellectual clarity. But this shared space of confusion can also be a canvas, a place where abstract ideas are finally given emotional weight. A waterspout forms, a rare moment of perfect alignment where mind and heart move together in a single, powerful direction. However, the second cyclone remains free, an untethered thought, threatening to disrupt the fragile connection with a new distraction. A fascinating yet exhausting dynamic, a constant, near impossible search for clarity in a beautiful, self-made confusion. File 4. Cancer. The tide encounters itself. Water meets water. A perfect yet perilous reflection. Two currents of the same lunar tide, drawn together by a gravitational pull of pure, unfiltered empathy. The initial touch is not a clash, but a flawless recognition. Every ripple on one surface is instantly and perfectly mirrored on the other. They merge into one boundless, unified sea, a shared consciousness where unfiltered feeling is the only language spoken. But in this shared depth, a single dark mood can create a vortex, pulling both currents down into a spiral of shared melancholy, an inescapable feedback loop where emotion amplifies emotion, draining the light from their once perfect world. They risk becoming an abyss, a beautiful, deep, and ultimately empty space where neither current can find its own shore. Their only salvation is a shared moon, an internal, guiding light strong enough to calm their own self-made storm. A profound connection of unparalleled depth, forever balancing on the knife's edge between a perfect sea and a bottomless void. File 5. Leo, the star at the center of the system. When the lunar tide meets the solar fire, the result is dramatic and expansive. Leo's energy is a constant, generous, and demanding radiance, a fixed star that expects its system to orbit in admiration. Cancer's deep waters are warmed by this generosity. The light penetrates the depths, awakening a vibrant, hidden world. The ocean in turn reflects the sun's glory, creating a spectacle of color that amplifies its beauty for all the cosmos to see. But the sun's focused heat, its unchecked ego, can become too intense, threatening to boil away the very emotions that sustain it. And the tide, in its defense, can rise with overwhelming force, its emotional surge threatening to extinguish the proud, lonely fire. The result is a world of steam, a blinding confusion where the sun cannot be seen and the ocean cannot be found. But when pride and emotion learn to coexist, the light finds a way to shine through the tears, creating a beauty born of conflict, a dynamic of spectacular drama, a shoreline of constant steam, where the fire and water meet in a passionate, eternal, and breathtaking dance. Virgo, the cosmic architect. When the emotional tide meets the force of perfect order, it is channeled and refined. Virgo's energy is a complex, crystalline lattice, a system of pure, intricate logic designed to analyze, categorize, and perfect. The Cancer tide flows into the system. Its raw emotion is filtered, purified, and given a clear, understandable path. Together they create wonders, intricate aqueducts of crystal carrying rivers of pure feeling, a fusion of logic and love. But Virgo's perfectionism can feel rigid. The channels are flawless, but they do not allow for the natural ebb and flow of a real tide. The water, in its need to express itself, can crack the perfect system, a flaw created not by malice, but by overwhelming feeling. Virgo, in turn, can overanalyze the feeling, creating a labyrinth of logic, so complex that the water becomes lost, its flow ceasing. They must create not a rigid channel, but a beautiful, natural riverbank, where structure guides but does not imprison, a relationship of profound service and care, a delicate balance between the perfection of the mind and the wildness of the heart. Libra, the scales of cosmic harmony. When the emotional tide meets the principle of perfect balance, it seeks a perfect reflection. Libra's energy manifests as an aesthetic ideal, structures of impossible elegance and symmetry floating in a dance of social grace. Cancer's tide is drawn to this beauty. It settles beneath the dance, becoming a perfect, still mirror to reflect the harmony above. A world of perfect surfaces is created, a relationship built on shared appreciation for peace, beauty, and social harmony. But this perfection is fragile. A single indecisive gust of wind from Libra can ripple the surface, shattering the ideal image. And a single deep emotional swell from Cancer can disturb the air, knocking the delicate, graceful structures out of their perfect balance. An unspoken conflict arises. The fear of disturbing the peace leads to a surface of calm that hides the turmoil brewing beneath and above. Harmony is restored not by ignoring the ripples, but by embracing them, finding a new, more dynamic and honest equilibrium. A relationship of profound aesthetic and social grace, constantly learning that true balance is not stillness, but a beautiful, responsive dance. Scorpio, the hidden current. Water meets water again. But this is not a reflection. This is the surface meeting the abyss. Scorpio's energy is a geothermal vent on the cosmic seafloor, intense, transformative, and deeply connected to the primal core of existence. The intuitive Cancer tide is drawn down into these depths, past the sunlit zones, seeking a connection others fear to make. Where they meet, a new alchemy occurs. The cool, emotional water is superheated by Scorpio's truth, creating a zone of impossible clarity. In this space, secrets cannot exist. A psychic bond is forged, rooted in a shared understanding of the universe's hidden truths. But Scorpio's intensity can become possessive. Its magnetic pull can seek not just to connect, but to consume, to own. And Cancer's deep emotional memory can manifest as a defensive tide, creating a shell of cold water to protect itself from the overwhelming heat. A stalemate in the abyss, a power struggle between total fusion and self-preservation, fought in the silent, crushing depths. This is the most profound of all connections, a love that requires absolute trust to navigate the darkness and find the light within it. File 9, Sagittarius, the untamed fire of the explorer. When the tide meets the archer's flame, the result is explosive and expansive. Sagittarius's energy is a wild, expansive magma chamber, a force of boundless optimism and a relentless desire for freedom and what lies beyond the horizon. Cancer's deep emotional aquifer, a reservoir of nurturing stability, seeps down, drawn by the heat and the promise of discovery. When water meets fire this deep, the pressure is immense. It doesn't extinguish the flame, it transforms it into a new, directed power, and this power must be released. Together, they create a geyser, a spectacular, joyful eruption of shared energy reaching for the heavens. But Cancer's need for a home is at odds with the geyser's very nature, which cannot be contained, which must always be free. And Sagittarius's fire, when cooled by too much emotional water, can lose its heat, its drive, becoming just a dark, heavy stone. They must exist as a cycle. The fire must retreat to build its heat, and the water must retreat to build its depth to make the next eruption possible. A relationship of explosive joy and profound philosophical discovery, sustained by the very freedom that keeps them apart. File 10, Capricorn, the master builder, the eternal mountain. Here, the tide does not find a shore. It finds a challenge, an immovable object. Capricorn's energy is geological. It manifests as a slow, patient, and impossibly ambitious mountain, building itself ever higher, crystal by crystal, over eons. The Cancer tide, in its nature, relentlessly laps at the mountain's base, seeking to soften its hard edges, to find a way in, to connect with what lies beneath the stone. Over time, the relentless water carves a space for itself, a sea cave, a secret protected sanctuary within the mountain's unyielding strength. The mountain, in turn, provides the tide with a foundation. Its minerals dissolve, giving the water a new crystalline structure and profound stability. But the mountain's ambition can be cold. It can see the tide not as a partner, but as a resource to be used in its climb to the top. And the ocean's emotion can be overwhelming. A sudden king tide of feeling can threaten to undermine the mountain's very foundation. They are the ultimate power couple of the cosmos, but only when they respect the boundary, the place where the water ends and the stone begins. An alliance of tradition and intuition, a fortress with a heart, a dynasty built to last for eternity. File 11. Aquarius, the celestial revolutionary. When the deep emotional tide encounters the cold, thin air of the upper cosmos, it is shocked into a new state of being. Aquarius's energy is a stratospheric electrical storm, a network of pure, detached intellect and radical, unpredictable ideas that flash across the void. Cancer's warm personal tide is drawn upwards, a cloud of vapor rising to meet the strange cold light, seeking some form of connection. As warm emotion meets cold intellect, a strange crystallization occurs. Feelings are frozen into unique, beautiful, but brittle sculptures of ice. This creates a space of brilliant, objective clarity. Emotions can be examined from a distance, understood as beautiful, logical patterns. But the coldness of Aquarius can feel alienating. Its detachment can invalidate the warmth of the feeling, treating a living emotion like a dead specimen. And Cancer's emotional gravity can feel suffocating to the free-floating network, its warmth threatening to melt the beautiful ice and create a chaotic, sentimental fog. They thrive when they create an aurora, a place where the cold, high-energy particles of the mind can meet the warm, protective atmosphere of the heart. A friendship of shocking revelations and deep, unconventional care. A strange and beautiful light visible only to those who look up. File 12. Pisces, the final tide, the universal ocean of dreams. Here, water does not meet water. It returns to itself. Pisces' energy is a boundless, nebular ocean where all realities, dreams, and possibilities coexist. It is the source and the end. The Cancer current, an individual stream of emotion, dissolves into this universal sea. Its personal feelings become one with the collective. This is a connection beyond empathy, a total psychic and spiritual fusion, a shared soul dreaming the same dream. But in this boundless ocean, there is no anchor, no shore. The practical world can be forgotten, lost in the beauty of the shared illusion. Cancer's instinct to build a safe home struggles against Pisces' nature, which is to have no home and therefore be at home everywhere. They can become a ghost current, lost in their own beautiful world, invisible to the rest of the cosmos. Their salvation lies in creating an island of consciousness, a shared sanctuary, a solid place to dream from without drifting away forever, a spiritual union of profound, unconditional love, an intuitive, creative partnership that has the power to dream new worlds into existence. The lunar tide touches all, each interaction a unique and volatile alchemy, a dance of elemental forces at the very foundation of the cosmos. It is a force of feeling in a universe of physics, a constant flowing reminder that the most powerful connections are written not in the stars themselves, but in the deep, silent, and powerful currents that flow between them.